Threw me off.
Welcome to the Rising Society podcast. I'm Shane Kennedy.
I'm Nico Galliano, the rejected gentleman.
And tonight we are joined with Neal Seymour from Louisville, Kentucky.
Greetings and salutations.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Yep, Louisville. So tonight has been rife with technical difficulties.
To say the least.
And I do want to point out I am wearing I did tie a double Windsor and it looks badass.
I'm not repeating these jokes. Your tie
Yeah.
sucks.
All right, so
nothing to say
we
about
were
it.
talking about we were talking about and we actually started an icebreaker. The last time that we tried this,
and we hit the iceberg instead.
That was a
It's
very good
fucking
point.
beautiful, dude.
Yeah. So why don't we, Neal? Do you want to explain the icebreaker to us?
Yeah, the icebreaker into the iceberg is the we were going to talk about when we were kids under the age of 12, the worst thing that we did as far as disciplinary types of actions, whether we, broke something, got in trouble with the law, did something with our parents, whatever, but the shittiest thing, the worst thing we did as kids under 12.
Okay, so the absolute thing that we still weighs on us, basically.
And you got in the most trouble for.
All right, this is going to show into our personalities.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Easily.
Shane, why don't you start us off?
Okay. Well, I've already been practiced at this, so.
You do this a lot still? As an
No.
adult?
So all right. So here. First of all, so something you guys already know is that I'm very much a rule follower. Mm-hmm. I always have been, I always will be.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
But so the worst thing I did before I turned 12, it happened when I was in elementary school. I was in about first grade, so I was about 6 years old, and I was in music class. I'm not going to say the music teacher's name because you guys will make dirty jokes about it.
Now you have to say it.
But
what's the music teacher's name?
I listen. I'm not going to say it because it'll get us banned from YouTube.
Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson?
No. This is the early '90s, so men were not identifying as women at that time.
This is a woman teacher?
Yeah, female teacher. So
Madame Bouvier.
yeah. So it was music class. We were singing and playing recorders. And
Which one did you were a singer. For sure. You were a singer.
Yeah. Hi.
You were a fucking singer.
how did you know?
Because you can't play instruments for shit.
Well, listen. Well, and also too, you only had a 50-50 shot.
But you can't
you have the
so
high
either.
voice. The what is it? Soprano? Is the
falsetto.
falsetto.
Yeah, falsetto, and then there's soprano, and there's tenor.
You have the high one. The high voice.
Okay. Well, and then you got
Like the
and
castrata when you had your balls cut off as a kid. When
Squeeze.
Yeah.
Well, and you see, and then you've got the highest voice of them all,
Like
And-
a cherub.
well,
Like a
well-
little fat baby angel.
like a Jamaican cherub.
yeah, okay.
But so what happened was we were singing and playing instruments. I'm not going to confirm or deny whether I was singing or not singing, but
we know.
Yeah.
so the whole class, we were all into it, and there was a girl named Erica that was standing next to me, and I think she was playing the recorder, and I was singing. I'll go ahead and confirm that, I guess.
We know.
Secrets out.
And so I don't know that. So the thought crawled into the evil, wicked thought crawled into my head that it would be funny for me to pull her chair out from behind her, without her realizing it, so that whenever she went to sit down, then she would fall and hit the ground, and it would be hilarious. So I did that. So I very carefully removed her chair from behind her, and then whenever we all got done singing and playing the recorders, we all sat down in our chairs. Well, she went to sit down in her seat, and she fell right on her butt, right on the ground, and it was like this. It was like the Three Stooges. It was like right out of a Jerry Lewis movie.
like the sound of a garbage truck being thrown from the Empire State Building.
And poor Erica. I mean, she didn't even know what was happening. Like she went to sit down. She just assumed that chair was still there, and it was not. And she crashed right on the ground. And all the kids in the class went silent. The music teacher, she shot me the dirtiest scowl I think I've ever seen in my life. And she ended up sending me to the office. Now this
How'd
is the
she know
thing.
it was you?
Because because the entire class was silent, and I was laughing.
Because he was the
You
asshole behind the
laughing at-
chair
And
that was missing.
And I was laughing and pointing too.
Wait. So you tried to get the whole class to come in on this devious plot of yours. So
I didn't care about
They
the
were-
whole class.
they were-
I just wanted to amuse
you
myself
had to care. Who the fuck were you pointing for? You're a monster.
for myself.
No, you knew you did it. So you literally pointed at this girl on the ground and belly laughed, and the whole class was silent. Like they didn't join in laughing.
No.
Which means that it wasn't funny. It was just mean.
Yeah,
So
mean.
even in first grade, you were a piece of shit.
Well, did
Institutionalized.
did
piece
I
of
ever
shit.
say? Well, listen. Did I ever say I was doing it to try to get a laugh? No.
For yourself?
That's worse.
So
If you were doing it for a laugh, we could chalk it up to like childhood, ha ha ha. You just
I
admitted
was
that's not why you did
Well,
it.
listen, I was not doing it for a laugh. This was not like a Jim Carrey or Robin Williams movie.
So it
Why
wasn't-
did you
So
do
it
it?
wasn't for sexual gratification either.
No.
Why did you do it?
You see, I still don't know that, but so I remember going home.
It's a psychopath.
I remember I got sent home that day from school, and I got the ass beating of a lifetime. So
By your mom?
actually, my mom and my dad.
Oh, they both whipped
Yep,
your
yeah, I
ass.
got the belt.
So
Nico.
you had a red ass, and Erica America had a red ass.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
have that in common. You
So
deserved yours.
you-
Well,
got
actually,
the
I probably
proper-
had a purple ass by the end of the night.
So you got the accurate beating based on your actions.
Literally an eye for an eye, an ass for an ass.
An ass for an ass.
Yeah.
Yep.
Erica wins.
Yeah, Erica did win.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on record right now. We'll just roll with that story
Mm-hmm.
for the sake of time. There is no fucking way that's the worst thing you did as a kid. Pulled a chair out prank. I'm not buying it for a second, but we're going to let it slide.
Remember, he said he was only in first, second grade?
Yeah.
That was just first or second
That's
grade.
probably that's the worst thing you did then. I thought we were picking our worst thing under 12.
Yeah, under 12.
Well, when I was 12 years old, I wasn't filing taxes. Not that I would ever cheat on my taxes.
Wait, so you just admitted on video?
No.
Recorded. What, is John DeLorean here now too? Are
Clip
we
it.
undercover?
Don't
Are the
clip
feds
it.
outside the door?
Every time I want a piece that we can go on social media, clip that. Thank you.
Yeah, don't clip that. All right, Nico.
All right, well, mine's gonna bring it way down because mine actually is kind of psychopathic.
You cheated on your taxes?
No, here's how I know I'm not like a murderer like you because I didn't point and laugh, and everyone else was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck happened?" I instantly regretted it and started crying. I was mortified.
How old were you?
Okay, so this had to be 11 or 12.
Okay.
No, let's go with 11. I was probably 11, okay?
Okay.
And I'll never forget. You guys know what M80s are?
I still have some. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had the M80s, big booms, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we had some of those, and I don't know why, but I'm not going to name them either because this really does go on the this is like what killers do when they're young and shit.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't surprise me that you're doing it.
So they were like, dude, instantly. This is how I know I don't have what it takes to be a killer. Just don't have it. All right.
And that poor cat.
No, Jesus, no. Oh God.
Whoa!
No. So he was like, we should tie this to a frog and blow it up.
Oh,
well, we
yeah.
couldn't find any frogs, so he caught a lizard. Right, and these were my M80s, and he was like, "Hey, hand me an M80." And I handed it to him, right? And he was like, "How are we gonna get this stick?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know, man." He's like, "Tape. We just tape it to it." And I'm like, "Well, I don't have any tape." He's like, "I got some." And I'm just like going along with this whole thing. I'm just like following him, like this is fucked up, right? So he gets the lizard, he gets the thing, and I'll never forget. It was like I participated in murdering this lizard.
With an M80.
So he has this lizard, he has this thing, he came up with this whole plot, and then he hands him to me and goes, tape him. And I tape this M80 to the thing, and then I hand this lizard looking at me with his little beady eyes taped up with this M80, and I hand it back. I cannot believe I'm telling this story on recording. And I hand it back to him, and he lights it, blows that little fucker up. Instantly, I started crying, and I ran home. Yeah, it had to be like 11, I think. I ran home, and I was like, Dad, I just murdered a lizard. I was like, I tied an M80. He's like, what the fuck? And I explained the situation. He's like, all right, buddy. Well, obviously you're very remorseful. Don't do that shit anymore. And I was like, 2 days, couldn't sleep, bothered me.
PETA will be here in about 10 minutes.
Dude,
The door will be broken down. And you will be carried away covered in red sauce.
if I ever find mild success in anything, politics, business, they're going to bring this back in 15 years. Be like, remember when he killed that fucking lizard at 11?
You were going to be
Then-
the head of this company, but
Yeah, we
we
can't.
can't trust you because of your past lizard experience.
And we found your confessional video that,
Yeah.
that Shane clipped and put onto YouTube.
Clip it.
Clip
But
it.
to be fair, I was instantly remorseful and broke into tears. So I know I'm not a psychopath.
At 11.
At 11. Some people did not do that.
Well, I listen. I was remorseful.
It's Neal's
at-
turn. It's Neal's turn.
Okay, well, listen. Let me just say this. I was very remorseful at the end of the day that I did that to
After
Erica.
you got your ass whipped, I'm going to confess my sins.
Would you say that you were a bit old to be crying after that, though?
11?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But, dude, we murdered this thing. I felt so bad. It wasn't like when I go hunting. I was just like, this lizard was just like, what a great day.
Hanging out, waiting for some tail.
He's like, oh, yeah, he's probably going to go get the missus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Take the family to Disney.
Yeah.
So you were 11.
11? I think I was 11.
Were you still in California at the time, or had you moved to Florida?
No, it was my first year in Florida because I remember I was 10. Okay.
Placement.
Yep. Thank you, Shane. It was my first year in Florida.
Okay.
Yep.
So that gives you the right to cry still. Because if you're 10.
I was not a preteen.
Exactly.
Yep. So crying. Now I
Crying
feel
was
better
fair.
about crying.
Yep. Crying was fair.
Fucking.
All right. So I was 12 and I was kicking a football and we had a conversion van parked on the side of the driveway and had a football tee set up. And I decided I was going to be an NFL kicker and I was going to kick into the trees because I could do it. Set up the tee, ran and kicked the football. The football went straight into the dash of the van. Cracked the entire windshield of our van. One kick. I panicked. I ran up to the end of the street and went to the neighbor's driveway and started breaking chunks of their driveway off of the road to bring back down to the van. And then I was going to tell my dad that while I was out playing, someone drove by and threw a bunch of rocks
Fucking genius.
and hit the van. And I took it so seriously that I actually took some rocks and tried to throw them at myself to make it look like I got hit with rocks. But the point of the whole story was it was concrete that I picked up and it wasn't rocks. And it probably weighed less than a pound. And my dad saw the football right next to the van. And so, yeah, I tried to lie my way out by fixing the issue. And
Did not work.
no, of course not.
Here, I was like, fucking. He's like Sherlock Holmes. He's like, buddy. He's
And
like,
as a result, I didn't get to see the 1986 AFC Championship game between the Broncos and the Browns at the time. That was my my punishment.
oh shit!
That was a big deal. Yeah.
Damn. Shane doesn't even know what's going on. He's like, what are the Broncos and the Browns?
Yeah, I don't keep up with
What
What
sport? What
rocks?
sport is that, Shane? The Broncos and the Browns.
I'm guessing it's that's the NFL.
Nice, Shane.
Yeah.
Good guess.
Yeah,
It's-
good fucking guess.
And I can tell you what it's not the XFL.
Well, that's a different sort of
Yep.
gathering.
Dude, you're like your jokes are like the doo-doo-ch ones.
But it's after the
Yeah,
there is no
we lost that.
yeah.
yeah,
So
gone forever.
So there was a headline that the three of us had talked about before we started recording the first time, and
Two podcasts ago.
yeah. And listen, I thought it was hilarious. So there was this guy in Argentina, and he bought he bought what he thought was a poodle, and he thought he was getting one hell of a deal on this poodle, right? So it was a little
Explain
cuddly.
it. The little poodles.
Yeah.
Not the fucking.
Yeah, I think they call them toy poodles, right?
I don't. That would be more
Yeah.
your accurate area.
Yeah. So
I don't collect dolls.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So this was a toy poodle, and it was this little fluffy, this little white fluffy toy poodle, at least what he thought was a toy poodle, and he thought
Like
he
the
found
legally blonde ones, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And he thought he had found one hell of a deal on a toy poodle at the farmer's market. So he bought it because
In Argentina.
No.
He's just strolling the market and he sees poodles at a stand.
Yeah, so
a poodle.
I'll take one.
So you got to keep something in mind, Nico. Is this is as far south of the border as you can get?
Wait, hey,
you know?
whoa, buddy. Well, let's not get fucking
Yeah.
canceled.
I mean, we've all been to Texas.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Argentina.
Well, at least you and I have, and
Yeah.
we're going to talk about that a little later.
Oh, boy.
Argentina's the South American Texas. Is that what you guys are going?
Yeah,
And
actually-
all cowboys.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, in many
Absolutely.
ways, it is because ranching
I mean,
ranching
serious,
is really
that's
big
what I
in
said, the
Argentina.
Cowboys. Yeah.
But one thing they're not very good at apparently is identifying fake poodles. So this guy, he paid like $150 for this fake poodle at the farmer's market, which would normally cost about $1,200.
How much did he pay?
About $150. So
Is that U.S. currency or pesos?
the equivalent of U.S. currency, and
The conversion rate is important.
Yeah, well. So the thing is, with the Argentine money, it's they experience record inflation like every year, and they have for the past like 2 decades.
It's probably like 73 million.
Yeah. So
something.
their currency is always kind of in flux.
He could have bought Pablo Escobar's old mansion for that amount of money.
Yeah, probably.
And he bought a poodle
so-
at a fucking flea market.
Colombia
Well-
doesn't take Argentine
Well, he
dollars.
thought. So he thought he was buying a poodle. So the thing is, he gets this poodle home, and then he decides, well, I need to take it to the vet, obviously, to get it
How
vaccinated.
long was it at his house?
Maybe for a couple of days or something, and he takes it to the vet so he could get it shots. And the vet looks at it, and the vet says, "This is not a poodle." The vet says, "This is a rat that's been pumped up with steroids."
A rat.
Yeah. So this thing was a rat. Whoever this con artist was at the farmer's market, they'd been pumping up rats with steroids to make them big and fluffy, and then they gave them a haircut to make them look like a toy poodle.
To be fair, people listening are gonna be like, "No, fuck, wait." Tell them they got to Google it so they can see the picture.
Yeah.
It was in the article was on it was from the Daily News
Daily
or
Mail?
Daily Mail. That's
Daily
right.
Mail, yeah.
And it just if you Google like Daily Mail poodle rat Argentina, you'll find it for sure.
To be fair, when I saw it, when we looked at the
Yeah.
picture, I looked at it and I was like, dude, I don't know what the fuck that is. Like, I can't tell what kind of animal that is, but I know it's not a fucking poodle.
I was just gonna say it's definitely not a poodle. And that's the thing. So, sometimes it's easier to tell what something isn't than what it is. And that thing definitely was not a poodle.
Well, now that we told him it's a rat, you can look
Yeah.
at it and easily see it. It just looks like a rat with like a perm, like
Yeah.
a big white perm.
it's kind of creepy, really.
It
just
is.
just go into looking at it, assuming that you haven't heard that it is a rat, and and look at it as if it were a poodle.
How do you let that thing run around your house for 3 days and not know? Like, dude, he's in the cupboard again. like when he climbs shit.
All the cheese is gone.
Yeah.
There are holes in the wall.
When
There's
you-
a whole family of little baby munchkins living in the hole in the wall. Tom and Jerry are running around chasing each other.
Like, dude, this fucking poodle won't quit chewing on my wall. Like when he scaled the first piece of furniture effortlessly with all 4 fucking appendages. Like what?
He climbs to the highest points so that he can just stare down at you and just nibble on wood and stuff.
And all I see is this Argentine cowboy, just like, oh man, my dog's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
dude."
and that Argentine cowboy is like, that Argentine cowboy is just sitting there, just staring at what he thinks is a poodle. And he's like, I'm so glad I got a good deal on that poodle.
Not the first, and the first time that poodle takes a dump, wouldn't that kind of be an
little
indicator?
tiny shits, just little
Yeah, so
Little
baby
poodle
shits.
roodles, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing I was going to say is you would definitely be able to tell it's not a poodle because poodle poop
Yeah.
does not look anything like rat poop.
Right.
Also, I want to apologize. I don't know why I made my Argentine cowboy a Mexican from LA. Like that's the only Spanish voice I have. It's like, oh no, my dog, man. Like that was the worst.
You had just watched that movie with Cheech Marin, Born in East LA.
That was such a bad
It
accent.
got caught in your mind.
Oh, so anyways,
Yeah.
that's crazy, dude. I don't.
So the point of that story is don't go buying poodles in Argentina.
at the farmers markets there.
Or farmer's market.
Don't go to the farmer's market
so-
anywhere ever in the world.
Well, this is the thing. For the record, you would probably be safe going and buying a poodle at a pet shop in Argentina. You just wouldn't be safe buying a poodle at a farmer's market in Argentina.
You could buy a human in a pet shop in Argentina for the right price.
But then it might turn out that human is actually a rat that's been pumped up with steroids and it just got the right haircut.
To be fair, we're making fun of Argentina on this because this is where it happened.
Yeah.
I could see that happening in certain parts of Polk County, in LA. Like
I was just gonna say Polk County.
I could see people being like, "Oh man, I had this poodle for 3 days. It's just a giant fucking rat."
I wouldn't be surprised if I walked out your door later this evening and the first thing I saw was a man rat poodle.
Just a guy walking one on a fucking leash.
Fully grown. Doesn't bark, but grunts at you.
Baby poodle Strassel, the litter of 70. Like just fucking little rat.
So something I'll never forget. I had a landlord one time. There was a really old guy, like probably in his 80s or 90s, and this was like 10 years ago. And he kind of talked with kind of a squeaky voice. And I'll never forget, because I would go over there. I would go pick stuff up at the grocery store for him sometimes, and I would bring it over there because he couldn't really get around very well. And I'll never forget.
Did you live with him?
No. So I rented a house with some roommates,
Like a mother-in-law suite?
So I rented a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with some roommates. And then he lived in the mother-in-law suite behind the house.
Oh, and rent out the main house to you
yeah.
guys. That makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're old, that actually
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, and it worked out really good for him. He cut us a really good deal, and what we would kind of take turns like getting him stuff at the store or whatever that he would
Helping
need.
him out. And,
Yeah.
and he probably liked having people nearby.
Yeah. He felt
This
very
is a
safe and
smart
everything.
thing instead
Yeah.
of selling your shit and going into like a retirement community.
Yeah.
It's smart.
So I'll never forget. So usually whenever I would drop stuff off to him, he would always talk to me, and he would tell me stories like. And the one time he had been out of the country, he went to South America. He had actually traveled to Brazil, and he would always tell that story, and then he would always say the word key.
Tell what
Key.
story, buddy?
He would always just tell a story about how he traveled to South America.
You're acting like we were fucking there.
Okay, all right, so
Dude, that's not. You
right.
can't podcast
We
like that.
we are
Okay.
that guy.
Well,
He
so
was like,
know
he would
this.
tell
All
that
right.
story.
all right,
you know,
here,
the old
just to be
classic.
clear,
Key,
that he would
key.
travel to South America, and then he came back from South America after having been there for a few weeks or something. But throughout telling the story, and after he got done telling the story, he would always just say key. And I always thought that he was just like maybe losing it or something.
Or saying K, right? K, like what?
K, like what?
No, it was definitely key. And he didn't speak Spanish or anything.
Well,
So
in Brazil they speak
yeah,
Portuguese, right?
Right.
So then
Dummy.
well oh yeah. So anyway, he was talking about key. And then I remember one day I asked him, I said, "Bill, what are you saying?"
You finally did. You just,
Yeah. I asked him. I was like, because I legitimately wanted to know, like, well, what was he saying?
What the fuck's going on?
And Bill said that it was his favorite thing that he ate whenever he was in South America, whenever he was in Brazil, and it was called key. And I asked him, I said, so what is it? I kind of figured it was going to be like rice and beans, or it was going to be like some kind of like beef, or it was going to be something, or like fish.
Guinea pig.
That's exactly what it was.
Knew it.
Absolutely.
And Bill said that was one of the most delicious things he had ever had in his life. Was guinea pig. And he said he got to meet the little guinea pig before he ate it.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
And so the thing that made me think of that story was rodent South America.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rat Argentina thing. That made me think of rodent South America.
Well, they're so
Bill eating
small that it's like they usually have them on like street carts and stuff, but they have them like if you go to your
Families raise 'em.
If you go to your fancier hamster places, it's like lobster. You can just pick them out, and you're like, I want the one with the brown polka dot, and they pick them up.
The Red Lobster of
yeah.
Key.
Yeah, of Key.
Yeah.
I think the restaurant's just called Key.
Yeah. Or if you're there,
Rojo Key.
Rojo Key?
Yeah,
well, back when Bill was there, he probably would just point at it and just say key.
Bill was well known to be a key master.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Nicely
Yes,
done,
key,
yes.
the key master.
And Argentina was the gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
You hung
Yes.
out with some weird people in your lifetime.
Dude,
Yeah.
listen, I've got stories. I've met so many interesting people. I'll put it. I'll leave it at that.
It's wild.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Yeah.
Real quick, okay. I want to be on. Okay, so let's not make it a drastic scenario. Let's just go basic at first. You guys are in Brazil, right? Money's not an object. You guys are down there for 3 months, okay? Who cares about the situation?
He's about to bust out some situation ethics.
Yeah,
here.
situation.
I'm not
ethics.
sure I'm going to be comfortable with this response, but
Would you guys try guinea pig?
No.
just guinea pig.
Just walking past the street market, you're with your little Brazilian friends that you made, and they're like, "Oh, dude, key's delicious," and they're like, "You got to try it," and he's handing you, however they consume it, on a stick. I don't know. What sounds.
You'd eat it?
Hell fucking yeah.
Yeah, I would too.
All day long.
I'd try it. for
Okay,
sure.
here. I hear.
I'd make love to it with my mouth. Yeah.
Okay.
Why
Yeah.
not?
If I didn't like it, I'd never try it again. But I'm going in
I'd eat it.
open-minded. Yeah, it's
Feed it and
it's
eat
a
it.
fucking guinea pig.
All right. Well, here I'm gonna see how open minded you are.
But I also blew up lizards as a kid. So
Do you actually have some key here for us to try right now? Is that what you're getting at?
As a matter of fact, I do. No. So what about key sushi?
I don't like sushi.
why do we got to consume it weird? Why was that your fucking gloat moment? You're like,
Well-
what if I rolled it in shit? Like we're
Okay.
already trying the hamster.
All right, well,
why does
that
it got to be in
changes.
weird stuff that I want to be in?
Well, the thing is, I'm trying to figure out what your limit is for eating weird shit.
no, don't try to make it like your answer is normal. It's weird that you don't try things. You're like a baby.
Well, the thing, I'm not going to eat a rodent.
Yeah. Dude, rodent. I'm not eating. Well, you got a good point because I'm not eating a rat.
Yeah.
No rats.
I'm not eating a rat, so maybe you do have a point. Rats are dirty. Guinea pigs aren't dirty.
Have you ever seen a New York City sewer rat floating in the
disgusting.
subway that it's so big that it looks like an actual cat?
Yeah, they're monsters.
I was in New York in the late 90s with a friend, and one of the subway lines had flooded with rain, and we were looking over in the line, and we thought at first it was an actual cat swimming in on the rail.
really?
And the rail was closed, but upon further inspection, it was a fucking rat about this big. And that rat jumped out of the water and ran across the platform and jumped onto the next line and ran across it and jumped back up and went up the stairs and out of the subway.
Well, if you would have captured that rat,
Yeah.
you could have pumped it up with a bunch of steroids, given it a fancy haircut, and then you could have sold it at a farmer's market as a poodle.
those rats as a fucking pit bull.
Oh yeah.
You could have sold that as
okay,
fucking-
yeah,
as a
yeah,
pit
yeah.
That
bull,
thing
dude,
would
yeah.
that thing would have eaten your face off with 2 bites.
So I do want to. I'm circling back real quick.
Sure.
Good point, Shane. Because no, I wouldn't eat a rat, right? Because psychologically we associate that with being fucking disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd eat a squirrel, wouldn't you?
I have.
I have too.
That's a rodent, right?
It's a rodent that lives up in the trees. That's different.
Oh, it's a privileged rodent. So-
Rats.
so-
This is the thing.
got it.
Well, this is the thing. Rats roll around in filth and everything.
Yeah, but guinea pigs don't.
So you're basing what you will eat.
Guinea pigs live on the ground and roll around a bunch of filth. Yes, they do.
You're
A lot of
basing
things
what
live
you
on the
eat
ground.
on tier of cuteness. So if it's a Disney character,
Cuteness has nothing to do with it.
so
Do you eat pork?
Yeah.
you would eat.
They roll
you
around
would,
in
You would
shit.
eat deer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you would eat deer, would you eat fox? How about alligator?
So fox would be too much like dog to me. So I probably would not.
Okay, so dog, fox is out.
Now I have eaten gator before,
Okay.
and I thought gator was okay.
I've had it. Yeah.
It wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but I thought gator was okay.
Have you ever had roadkill?
Define roadkill. Like
Wait,
like an animal that would just.
So what situation would you say yes and no on this? Now I need you
Okay,
to define.
so-
Is there a line here?
All right,
You're like,
so-
maybe.
All right, so here, so let's say that there was a hunter that was hunting a deer and he happened to shoot the deer when the deer was like standing on the road or
Has
something.
this happened to you?
That's not
No.
roadkill.
So
That's
but,
not
But
roadkill.
technically, that would be roadkill.
Has that situation happened to you?
That's called
and that is
hunters
something
killing
that I
a
would
deer
eat.
that falls
Now-
on the road.
Now, the thing is, on the other hand, if you're asking me if I would eat meat from an animal that was just found dead, its carcass was just found dead on the side of the road with a
Yes.
bunch of flies on it,
Yes.
then hell no.
Okay, I'm with you. No, I'm not eating.
So you've
roadkill.
never been to West Virginia?
I never have.
Because I have,
And I'm very proud of that fact.
I have eaten roadkill. Took it off the road, put it on a grill, cooked it. Didn't know if it was a skunk.
Jesus,
Could have been a
man.
rabbit. Could have been a baby human that some meth head had dropped off on the curb. We didn't know.
Well,
But we ate it, and it was disgusting. But I ate it.
the fact that
And
it was
my
cooked though makes it less bad.
Right, but my point is that there is no limit to what I won't eat. And that's where I think we're trying to find with you where your line is.
I guess
Would you eat a human?
No,
I
I wouldn't
So the Donner
either.
Party,
No.
the Donner Party situation.
yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, Donner Party of none.
I feel like yours is almost like a modern standard, like, is it a pet or not kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're more on the, like, you're not going to try anything that could be pet related.
Well, there are people that have pet chickens, and I'm
but
perfectly fine eating chicken.
pet in the domesticated pet sense.
But
So-
you don't want to name the chicken because then it becomes specific.
I wouldn't have a problem eating a chicken that I've named.
Would you eat a chinchilla?
I would. I've
No,
been waiting to ask
because that's
that
a
for
rodent.
about 20 minutes.
Thank you. Yeah, he owns a chinchilla.
Yeah, I've been. too
Would you
scared to
eat a
ask.
cat?
It depends on how much hair was on it.
How about a dog?
So I wouldn't eat any domesticated animals. Cats and dogs are out for me. Everything else is pretty much on the table, though. I'd
about-
eat snake. I'd eat.
So I guess what I'll say is this: if it were a do or die situation, let's say
Yes.
that I was in the wilderness and
That's
I
what we're
needed to
getting to.
survive, then I would eat anything.
Anything. I'd eat bugs. I don't give a
But
shit.
but if we're talking about choice, and I have the option to either let's say eat guinea pig or eat, I don't know, like chicken wings, then I'll pick the chicken wings.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So
no, I got you.
your trip to Singapore is not going to happen anytime soon.
No, he's not
No,
going there.
and now I will tell you this: starving or not starving, I'm not eating bugs.
See, I have eaten bugs. I had a friend in
Yeah.
second grade who, during show and tell, brought in chocolate-covered grasshoppers, and they were the real thing. And
Those are popular, actually. Yeah.
and this was many years ago, and we didn't quite know that the
And you grew up in Beijing.
Bangkok. Yeah. So I ate one of the chocolate grasshoppers, and that's how I turned out the way I turned out. And that was second grade. And
Wow.
his name was Mark, by the way, if that gives you any idea of the kind of person he was. Do you know any Marks that you trust?
Oh no, dude! Fuck Marks.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well,
I never thought about that before.
There is the lead singer of Sugar Ray was named Mark.
McGrath.
Yeah, Mark McGrath, and you know that guy's pretty trustworthy.
You don't even know him.
You know, I don't think he is.
You just picked that's the first Mark you could think of. Like, you don't personally know a Mark.
No, I don't personally know Mark, but Mark McGrath.
Lots of Daves, minimal Marks.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the thing. Mark McGrath kind of seems like he's probably trustworthy.
Fair.
He's an excellent musician, at least.
What if you had a bag of cocaine and you needed him to hold it for you for an hour, and then you came back to his place and the cocaine was gone?
Yeah, less trustworthy
Yeah.
now.
Would you trust Mark then?
Well,
It's a very Mark thing to do.
Yeah, it's a very Mark thing.
well,
to
well.
be.
Then at that point, I think anything is fair game, and we could treat Mark the way that Nico treated that lizard.
Oh my god, dude.
So you're gonna stick M80s in Mark's holes and basically blow him up on Sunset Strip.
Well, I'm not saying that I would do that. I'm just saying that that's probably what he would deserve.
Well, yeah.
You'd murder Mark over an ounce of coke.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't murder.
So
Mark.
we can all agree that there isn't a Mark in the world that's trustworthy or is worth living.
And listen, I'm completely kidding.
So
Man,
the hell with
whatever
Mark.
that was you gave me to drink, that was some damn good stuff.
So there are no Marks.
Yeah, I'll just have a little bit more.
The only Mark that
What
you
is
would
that, by
take
the
is
way?
Maker's Mark, by the way.
This is a very special one. Yeah, Maker's Mark is.
that's
I don't trust
That's a
that
good.
Mark
That's a good
either.
Mark. No.
No, I don't trust that Mark.
Nah, the lying.
Well,
bastard.
I don't trust that Mark, but it's a pretty good Mark though.
Yeah.
I'm a Mark for Mountain Dew. There's no promo. This is no special. This is just my addiction.
Yeah, we are not sponsored by these guys.
So,
Yeah.
so Neal, listen, there is something I want to ask you. What do you think about fidget spinners?
I think every man, every boy,
I ain't putting hardly any.
Every
no.
every
No,
male
I don't want much more.
was
Sorry,
born with a fidget spinner.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with that.
And if you can't fidget that spinner, then you don't deserve to have an artificial spinner to be spun.
You just mix my bourbon. That's a
That's
sin.
a shitty thing to do.
Good stuff.
Dude,
You
that's
just put a little bit in there, and it opens your palate to really enjoy it.
No, it doesn't.
Yes,
That's
yes, it
false.
does.
You never put
Yes.
water with your bourbon.
For the record, try it. It's
For
delicious.
the record, don't do that.
For the record,
And-
this record is
Yeah.
broken.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, you can do that with bourbon, and you can also do that with scotch.
No.
And what it does, it really opens up your palate.
We're on fidget spinners.
Fidget
but
spinners, yeah.
We're gonna fucking revisit that.
All right, so listen, fidget spinners. My take on them is that they're useless. I think they're just a pointless device. I think they come out of some Chinese factory somewhere, or just some factory in
You know
general.
how they originated, right?
They probably came out of some sweatshop.
No.
I have no idea.
No. So originally they didn't have the weights in them. They were I can't remember what there was no weight, so they didn't do the spin thing. It was more of a texture thing, but they would get it so it popped in and out on both sides. And it was for people with certain kinds of autism. They have to keep like it's
the sensory.
Yes, exactly. It's a sensory thing. So they would touch it. And that's when they started doing the those pop things. Those aren't new.
No.
They've had those forever.
Oh.
They just caught on real big again to where like they're selling in stores and stuff, and all the kids are doing, because all kids have ADHD now, I guess.
The pop thing you're talking about, like the little board. It's like a little grid of the little
Yeah,
pops?
well, they started doing
Okay.
different designs, and then the fidget spinners were huge, right? There's a lot of sensory stuff like that. It became very, very popular.
I just want to make mention real quickly that you've brought up a particular topic that was a fad probably, 5, 6, 7 years ago now?
No, the fidget spinners were a fad as recently as like 4 years ago.
False.
No. Yeah.
False.
No,
It was
yes,
long,
they were.
It had to be longer than that.
Longer than that. They came onto the scene way before that.
So
They were really big. Well, so they started to become big in probably about 2014, 2015, but they were huge all the way up until COVID. Really, really big all the way up until COVID.
You don't even know any pop culture stuff. We're not going to believe you
Yeah.
on shit you say about modern trends.
Well, the thing, there's a big difference between
what do
pop
you
culture
what do
and
you
modern
know about
trends.
spinner things?
Yeah, why would you know about that?
How would you know about them?
Well, my question to you was what you thought about the fidget spinners.
He told us.
I told
Yeah.
you if you were a boy and you're already born
You got
with
a
one,
natural
you have
fidget spinner.
You have a natural fidget spinner. If you're a girl, sorry, but
Then they make one for you.
they make one for you.
You know?
And that's the one you buy at the store, and it's pink, and it comes with Barbie's face on it. And,
Well, so-
and some of them have Ken, and he's a blue fidget spinner.
So my question is, are fidget spinners still a thing?
Well, you're the fucking trendy guy. You tell us.
Is tuberculosis still a thing? I mean,
well, listen. The thing is you guys pay very close attention to pop culture and stuff like that. And
what are we fucking six?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. No, first of all, don't be mad.
extra.
Don't be mad because we called you out on your bullshit and try to spin this around. And then you acted
Was that a
offended.
pun? You said don't try to spin this around on me, and
Yeah.
we're talking about fidget spinners.
Ooh, you've been quick.
I do puns naturally. I don't even think about them. Yeah, that's right. They just come off. I just said pop culture. You're like, well, it's not pop culture. And then you look at us and you're like, I'm going to insult them back. Well, you guys keep up with pop culture. Don't fucking shoot our stuff back at us.
No.
You were
The
wrong.
thing is,
it was
Yeah.
it was like 2012, 13.
Yeah.
No.
Those came onto the scene. They
Right.
were huge.
but they were huge all the way up until COVID.
False.
No.
No one was playing with those in 2019.
Yes. Listen, in
I don't know
2000,
who you were hanging out
Do
with.
you
that
know
was
what they were
fidget
playing with in
spinning.
2019?
probably the same thing they've been playing with for a long, long time. But
The hole in their arm and their dead corpses laying on the side of the streets.
That was 2020.
oh, okay. Oh wow,
Yeah.
You went that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Is that not what you're talking about?
Pretty much, yeah.
So
That was,
It was a precursor to it, though.
So fidget spinners though were a thing at least in schools
right?
in 2019.
Like
And-
maybe like the uncool kids were doing it.
No, they were super common. Super common.
All the cool kids were taking little sharp objects and taping them to the tips of their shoes and walking around the classroom and kicking all the little girls in the heels.
Yeah, they were doing that weird shit. Remember?
Maybe in West Virginia.
Well, it's all got to start somewhere.
And it branches out quick.
Yeah. How do you think I got my first wife?
I feel like you bought a fidget spinner in 2019, and you're really trying to make it like, no, guys,
listen.
trust
Why
me.
do you think he's wearing
No.
that coat? It's in its pocket right now.
Yeah.
He's
God.
about to pull it out, and he's going to turn it on the table.
bringing it back.
So something
Yeah.
something I'm very proud of is I've never once bought a fidget spinner, and I never will. Now I think I gifted you one
Saying
that
you-
I found on the ground.
Saying that you've never bought
You found
a
it.
fidget spinner is like saying that I've never.
Don't get us banned from YouTube.
Yeah, that's the thing. Saying you've not bought a fidget spinner is like saying that you've never touched yourself inappropriately.
Don't get us.
Don't get us scared.
So like touching myself on the nose, which would be inappropriate.
On the nose, putting your fingers in your nose, in your ears, and your mouth.
Okay.
Yes.
So wait, you're gonna be? I guarantee you're gonna be the guy like you never bought a tech deck board.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
Actually, I'm ignorant to that too.
You guys don't remember tech deck boards?
this must be a
I wasn't
Gen Z
born in
thing.
2005.
A Gen Z thing?
Yeah.
No way, dude. I am much younger than you, but you
And
would
if you're a
have.
lot younger than me, then
Yeah, you don't remember tech decks? Okay, this had to be 2002.
so is this like, can I tell you what my assumption is about what this is?
Yo, it's a tech deck.
Okay, so a tech it sounds like a wooden Japanese contraption.
Okay, I want both your opinions. Okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah, so I think it's a Japanese wooden contraption
Okay.
that predates fidget spinners. Okay,
So
Neal?
you think it's a Japanese version of a fidget spinner? It's a wood box that you spin?
Yeah, but one that goes back to like the medieval period in Japan, like
Okay,
that
tech
samurais
deck.
would have used and stuff.
All right.
Yeah, tech.
So it's a wooden box, and you spin it.
You wouldn't necessarily spin it, but it would have a whole bunch of little parts and stuff that you can like maneuver.
I've seen the movie Hellraiser, so I'm going
Fucking
to
demon
I'm going to
box.
say stay the hell away from this fidget spinner from China
So-
from the 13th.
So Hellraiser.
Dynasty.
So I've never seen that movie because I didn't want to invite that kind of evil into my life.
Oh well,
Oh my
now
God.
now that it's in your life,
Yeah, it's there.
that's the original fidget spinner, is the Hellraiser box.
I think you just described like a Rubik's Cube, like the original Rubik's
Yeah,
Cube. That's all you did.
Maybe
That was a long way around to get to that.
Yeah, he's like, it was a really old Rubik's Cube.
well, it might have been similar in concept to a Rubik's Cube, but not quite because my concept of it is it's something to just kind of occupy your senses, I guess. And a Rubik Cube is there to kind of like to give you an intellectual challenge.
All right, cool.
All right, now, did you ever take the Rubik's Cube, tape the colors off, and actually retape it so that it was made correctly, color-wise?
Never.
I always did, and lied to my teeth.
Saying you've solved it.
Yeah, I would take the colors off, tape them back on, and go show everybody I did it. And I must have done it a dozen times. And then after 4 or 5 times, the tape starts to pull
Fall,
off.
yeah.
And the lie becomes harder to tell because then you have to either admit that you pulled the tape off, or you have to find a way to get it to stick back on. There is no other choice. So
it used to take me hours to get the Rubik's Cube straight. And I
You
can tell
never solved it once.
Yeah. Listen, yes, I did.
Never once.
A handful of times, but I can tell you, I can tell you this much. I have known Nico for more than half of his life.
yeah.
And Nico has never once solved a Rubik's Cube.
No, I haven't. And I know you said it used to take me hours, but I've only did a handful of times. Bitch, I know that Rubik's Cube sat in your room for 20 years, and you only solved it a handful of times, which means that you only picked it up in your life. You only picked that thing up 15 times.
I have actually spotted that Rubik's Cube in your room at least a decade ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, I saw it sitting there, and I thought that Rubik's Cube must have been sitting there since 1995.
Oh, for sure. And he never solved it once.
Not a once.
Guaranteed,
Not a once.
never once.
So I'll say this: I solved it more than 3 times, but no more than 7.
False. That's a lie.
And no.
That is a dirty
More
lie.
than 3 and less than 7.
So,
That's a lot of ground for error.
so what do you think
That's
a
some
tech
really good
tech
bourbon.
is? Yeah.
What do I think tech
Cheers.
is? Well, it sounds like something that when you're in Japan and you go up to a vending machine.
You both went Japanese. Okay.
Could it be a Japanese cookie?
No, it couldn't be.
No, I think a tech machine is a machine that you have in
Wait,
Japan.
no one said machine. Okay, go ahead.
Well, this is my interpretation of a tech.
Well,
Okay,
vending
tech
machines are really big in Japan, though.
Well, that's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, he's going.
Techs are slang for Japanese machines.
Remember to keep it.
I am.
He's got
I
this.
am.
He's good.
I'm good. We talked about eating bugs, and we're good. So you go to Japan, you put a couple of yen. Like that is the Japanese currency, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the yen.
So you put a couple of yen into the machine, and you get certain objects. And the yen is the hidden object. It comes in a little square box, and you don't know what's in the yen. And it could be anything from a rotten apple to more yen, more money, more currency.
It's like a mystery surprise.
It's a mystery box. It could be rotten fruit. It could be piece of a fingernail some guy put in there. But it's a mystery box that comes from a vending machine in the subway in Japan. And American tourists, when they go to Japan for the first time, are so overwhelmed by the size of Japan that they inevitably put their money into the machine,
to the tech deck machine.
to the tech machine, and they always get the mystery box. But unfortunately, there's never anything inside the mystery box. That's my theory.
Do they ever find an animal like a rat that's been given a bunch of steroids?
They
There's a
have
haircut
found-
that makes it look like a toy poodle.
You want a Pomeranian. There you go.
They
You
have
want-
found half-eaten chinchillas in tech boxes.
Oh, so it could be
Wow.
literally a spectrum of it.
Yeah.
All right, those are both interesting. So a tech deck is just a small skateboard that you use your fingers. You put your 2 fingers on it, and you just ride it around. So it's just a skateboard about that big.
Yeah,
and
Neal,
they call them tech decks.
So I could do that with my fingers, and
Yeah.
technically I'm teching.
Dude,
without
no,
my
you need the
invisible
board.
I have an invisible board.
Dude, people would grind
Well,
these things walking down the halls.
Yeah.
They would like grind. Now you know.
I remember that.
So you do know what a tech deck is.
Welcome to 1994.
1994?
Yeah.
Those were not around in 1994.
Yes, they were.
Those came out in
I'm
the
so-
late 90s, early 2000s.
I'm sorry. I had pubes. I was looking at girls. I had bigger and better things to worry about
Than tech decks?
Than tech decks.
Then a miniature skateboard.
Yeah, I rode a real
For
skateboard.
your fingers.
Yeah.
Wait, you can't give us shit, man, because I know you probably played with Pogs, and those were just pieces of cardboard.
Not only did I not play with Pogs,
Oh,
but I used to steal Pogs and take them and throw them at people at the mall.
Did you ever injure anybody with a pog?
I never threw a slammer at anybody.
Okay.
Those things are like discs that you throw at the Olympics.
So I was going through old boxes and I've actually got all of my original pogs.
Worthless.
Yeah,
Not worth a penny.
You know what's funny, dude? I got a story on that. So I had to be like 13, and I've always been very entrepreneurial. And there was this garage sale, and there was this girl. She was moving away to go to college. It was, and she's lived down the road from us for like 5 years. And her mom was selling all her shit so they could pay for college. And one of the things out there was this massive pog collection. And you could tell the girl's pissed that she's selling all her shit, right? Pissed. And the mom was there, and she had all these pogs. I'm talking, it had to be like probably close to 2,000 pogs.
Harvard isn't cheap.
And $15, right? And I go up to her, and I'm like, all I have, the girl's just looking at me because I walked right to the pogs. There's shiny everything, right? And I was like, all I have is $10. Because even then I was hustling. I'm like, I'm not giving her 15. I'm giving her 10. And the girl just looks at me like, you little son of a bitch. I spent who knows how much money on this? My whole life just collecting this. And mom's like, I'll take 10. So I look at her and I grab all those pogs and I'm thinking, I'm going to flip all these pogs.
Yeah.
Well, go 25 years later, the pogs are worth less than the $10 I spent buying them then.
So that leads me to the question about baseball cards.
Oh,
Because when I was a kid, collecting baseball cards was literally the pinnacle of every male.
you were
between
not
the-
a young man if you did not collect baseball cards. Yeah.
From
Yeah.
age 8 to probably 14,
Yes.
we were obsessed with them. And I
Correct.
mean, every brand, every type, every one, we would ride our bikes miles further than we were supposed to
To go buy a pack of
to
baseball.
go buy a pack of baseball cards. And
Yes.
the first thing we would do was throw the gum away. People seem to be interested in the gum now. Mm-hmm. No, we didn't care about the
Shit.
gum. But we used to get baseball cards, and every once in a while you'd get, your Ken Griffey Jr. Upper Deck #1. And I've noticed that a lot of people now have taken to collecting baseball cards again. And they've upped the market by taking things that were related to famous athletes, and they've put these, one of one type of materials, like an autograph or a Hall of Famer's autograph with a piece of his jersey. on it.
Correct.
My question is, and I think you might know this answer, how much does one of those boxes of those types of cards cost? Because when I see the videos, the boxes that they come in look like they are very expensive, like boxes. They look like the box itself could be $40.
Yep.
So do you know the standardized price for those kind of cards?
You're correct. So a lot of those boxes that you go to the store, the problem is and the market's ebbed and flowed, and it was really big during COVID too.
Yeah.
And then it's corrected itself to I would say a healthy thing, but a lot of people got caught bag holding, so
Right.
they're all pissed off.
Yeah.
I think the market's in a healthy spot now.
Okay.
Who knows what the economy's going to do? But those boxes, they range from about $40 all the way up to $80, and then you have some really high end boxes. Wow. The problem is that as soon as that happens, people go and scoop them up.
Right.
And those boxes will sell for hundreds of dollars on the secondary market.
Right.
And then the bigger ones will sell for thousands of dollars on the secondary market because people are chasing these rookies.
And these are unopened boxes with
Unopened.
the prospect of getting a potential card
just
in
the
them.
potential.
So thousands of dollars spent on an unopened box on a guess.
The worst is when people were rookie chasing and then the grading market got flooded. No one knew what grading was. You know what I mean? Just your hard. So this came out and these companies caught on quick. They started mass producing again, like they did in the junk wax era. And now people are caught holding these, they're like, but it's a PS10. And you're like, no one gives a shit. Yeah. That rookie's been in the league for 5 years. He hasn't done shit except for that first year. And people are paying, stupid money.
And the reason I ask is because when I was a kid, we collected baseball cards left and right. And the big appeal was getting the hot player at the time, his rookie card, and holding on to it. And obviously hoping that someday the Beckett Guide of collecting would say that your Ken Griffey Jr. card was now worth $10 instead of, the $2.50 that you bought the pack from.
Yep.
So a buddy of mine, his dad had owned some property. And I guess within that property, there were a bunch of old boxes. And inside those boxes, he brought home someone's collection of football cards, old football cards from the 70s. And inside that box were 5 or 6 versions of Walter Payton rookie cards.
Oh, wow.
Which at the time, and all these cards were in great condition as well. And we thought we were millionaires. So we took it straight to the card shop and sold them. And we probably got maybe 50 or 60 bucks out of them. I look back on them now and I see that those same cards are in the 5 figures.
Oh, yeah.
And I think to myself, boy, life would have been a lot different if I had just kept that one Walter Payton card for a few extra years.
Well, that's the thing no one knows, right? Like, no
Yeah.
one knows Tom Brady's going to be Tom Brady. No one knows Michael Jordan's going to be Michael Jordan. So that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
Is if you take it from it's a very risky investment. First of all, you have your true collectors, and your true collectors are never going to buy into that chase.
Right.
They're there because they love it, right? And then you got the secondary guys that they want to make money. They're flipping. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I like that. And I think they say it's bad for the sport. I think it's healthy. Look how many kids are finally like, you got all your kids that were flipping tennis shoes and crazy shit and all that. They got into the market and it brought sports back big time. And I don't know. I love sports. I know a lot of people is like, it's brain rot and all this, but I think sports is great. I enjoy it. I know you're not a sports guy.
Well, so I'll that made me think of when I was a kid. So I would always go with some of my extended family to the beach each year, like at the beginning of June. And I remember one year when I was gone, my parents had a garage sale, and my mom sold a whole duffel bag that I had of baseball cards that I had been given, and these were all baseball cards that were from the 1980s. And I had been given these by a neighbor of mine, and my mom sold a whole duffel bag for $10. and this duffel bag probably had, I don't know, conservatively, it probably had 1,500 baseball cards in it. And I'll never forget getting back from the beach, and my mom said, "Okay, so we had the garage sale, and this is your cut of it. I sold your big, huge, massive duffel bag of baseball cards. I sold her for $10, and so this $10 it belongs to you." And I remember I remember thinking to myself, "Oh no," because the thing I was thinking at that time in my life, and I was probably like 12 years old, was I'm going to hold on to this duffel bag, and down the road I'll be able to do something with it. Yeah. And then if these cards aren't worth anything, I'll just throw it away because
who cares? Yeah.
Well, I was of the age when the original Star Wars stuff was coming out in the late, back then. No age.
You've told me about this, and this makes me sick, Neal.
And it makes my brain is turning to rage just thinking about the words that are about to come out of my mouth. Yeah. I had everything. I was a spoiled, rotten little shit kid who every Christmas, because all the big stuff was the original Star Wars stuff, my family would basically buy me the whole kit and caboodle for Christmas. So every Christmas, there were 20 or 30 different Star Wars things from the 80s. Brand new. Had them all collected, had them in great shape, had them all up until around age 14. Went to baseball camp one year over in St. Pete. Spent 2 weeks in dormitories. When I came back, my mother had a yard sale. And in the yard sale...
That's never a good thing.
No. Mothers and yard sales should be banned in all 50 states.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There should be a vote through a city council on whether mothers can have yard sales. And if the majority do not agree, then there are no yard sales. Because my mother took every single item of my Star Wars collection. Now, let me preface it by saying I hate Star Wars. I have grown to despise Star Wars because of the abundance of saturation of everything that's on the market within the last 15 to 20 years. But as an 8-year-old, when it was, back then, there was nothing that was more important in my life than getting the newest Star Wars figure. So I had them all. And Mother decided I had a trunk, like a trunk full of it. It was just everything was in it. Went to baseball camp, got hit with a bat, got in a fight, black eye, beat up a kid, come back 2 weeks later, trunk is gone. Asked Mom.
Sold the trunk too?
Sold the trunk. Every Star Wars figure, every toy, every action figure, every setup, everything was in this trunk. I could fit inside the trunk. It was so big. And do you know how much money I got out of that from my mother?
$30.
Dick all.
$0.
Nothing. She said
Did she give it away? No.
she sold it, but she didn't give me anything in return.
Somehow that's better than getting handed $10.
Yes.
Somehow that's good.
But if you look at it now and you see the nerd collection of people that have those figures, you can retire.
Oh yeah.
So,
dude, those
all
are
right,
good
so-
Star
with
Wars
that
toys.
stuff.
So
and
Neal,
I had it all.
for a frame of reference, your Star Wars collection, was it mainly episodes 4 through 6, or was it or did some of it involve episodes 1 through 3?
Shane, what is wrong with you?
Because there may have been some valuable Jar Jar Binks.
He just
action
said it was
figures.
the 80s, man. Those other movies didn't come out until fucking 20 years later.
Well, you know as well as I do
wasn't-
that.
I wasn't born in 1997.
Well, this is the only thing I'm going to preface it with is that you know that George Lucas had episodes 1 through 3 in mind in the 80s. All right, Neal.
My grandfather had dementia in the
hate
80s,
you.
but it didn't mean we advertised it. So
No. So what year was this?
the year that
This actually happened.
that she sold it?
Yeah.
Gosh, I'd say sometime in the early 90s because I had gone to camp 2 or 3 straight years, and it was a 2-week camp. So
So 1 through 3 weren't even a thought in
Well, I guess
anybody's mind
the
at this
first one
point.
did come out like 98, 97, didn't it?
2000, I think.
Was it that late?
Or
99?
Yeah, 99, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But this was at a point where it was just the first 3. Everything that's come afterwards was just it didn't exist. It was just the 3 movies and all the OG toys. And Mom sold them all. And to this day, I'll talk about it with her, and she'll blow it off like, I don't care. It was you needed to get rid of it. It was just junk taking up space. And I'm like, Mom, you can buy 2 Jaguars for those.
Oh,
toys
yeah,
now."
for sure.
And she still doesn't get it that the value of some of those toys is more than their house.
She's probably still happy that the space was cleared.
You know, she put her Christmas decoration boxes in the place of that trunk.
Well, I hope it was worth it.
The one thing that makes me happy about your story, yours brings me sadness. I'm like, oh my God.
It hurts
The
telling
thing
it.
that makes...
And my story brings you gladness?
No. This is what brings me gladness in your story, because you actually told me that one a long time ago. I remember, this is what makes me happy in your case, is your mom was asking $20. And the guy talked her down to 10.
To 10.
Because that's what I do at yard sales. I never pay full price. I don't care.
Well, I'm the same way.
If
Yard
it's-
sales,
if it's
estate sales,
$3,
whatever.
I'm like, oh, 2. Right? Like, it's just in my blood.
Have you ever taken something that wasn't yours and tried to sell it at a yard sale and take the money from it?
No, I stop at Lizards.
So you sold mom-covered lizards at yard sales,
That I'll sell.
but not someone else's pair of shoes, and said, "These were my old shoes. I'll take $10 for them.
$10, please.
$10 for the lizard, $10 for the shoes."
No, I just know it pisses Shane off because his mom was so proud, and I love Susie so much. She was like, "Well, it's 20," and the guy's like, "Well, I only got 10," and she's like, "Well, okay, I'll take 10."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Wow, good business."
Yeah, and
Good
she's thinking to
business.
herself, this will really make Shane happy.
This will make Shane
Instead of this duffel bag of baseball cards,
And the guy, he's
I'm
like-
gonna give Shane $10.
And after he got it for half off for $10, he was like, "Ooh, I don't have anything to carry these in. Can I have the duffel bag?" And she's like, "Yeah, no problem. Take the duffel bag. So you can have the duffel bag." So you got the duffel
It
bag,
made me sick, man.
which was worth more than $10.
Yeah.
But you got to think, if you had all those baseball cards in a duffel bag, those cards could not have been in very good condition.
They were in cases inside.
Oh,
Yeah, he had them all cased up.
now I'm feeling the pain.
And not just that, and I don't think I've ever told you this. There were some, I don't know, on the high end maybe 10, on the low end maybe 6 or 7 unopened packages of baseball cards in that duffel bag. Mm-hmm. And they were unopened packages. Now, to give a frame of reference, this is probably in like 1998 maybe, or maybe 99.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, I got this duffel bag of baseball cards in like 95 or 96.
And you collected them yourself. You were the one who purchased them.
So no,
Your
no,
neighbor, right?
Yeah, I was given this duffel bag of baseball cards by a neighbor because he was going away to college.
So he gifted them to you.
Well, his mom gifted them to me.
Okay, to make you feel a little better about
Yeah.
this scenario, and
Nothing you can say is going to make me feel better.
no,
about
this
it.
is a fact. It from about 86 to late 90s, 99.3% of that stuff was garbage.
Absolutely,
They
100%
way
correct.
overproduced.
Yep.
It didn't even matter if it was an all-star.
Okay,
it was
well-
overproduced. They didn't do a lot of. They didn't have their gimmick stuff yet, so there was no like the 101s were rare, the autographs were rare.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't produced on that scale yet. And the stuff they did make, they would take all-stars, have like 9 different variations of them, and they'd pump out 1 million of each.
But you know as well as I do that the only thing I needed was was one of those 0.7%.
Yep, and there was probably like 10 of them in that bag.
and that would have been life changing.
We've all had that bag taken from under our feet. Then,
And
it
generally
sounds like.
speaking, by our mothers.
By our
Yeah.
mothers, who we never complain about individually, privately,
And we love them to death, you know.
and our fathers
Yeah.
are always the ones that we make jokes about. But
Yeah.
yet our mothers are really the evil ones in the bunch.
To be fair, my mom never did that. I tried doing it to another girl, and now she's laughing. She's like, "I'm so glad he bought that for $10. I would still have that useless shit sitting around."
What was it that you sold it to her?
No, I bought it. I
bought
I was
Pogs.
stealing her
Oh, it's the
collection
Pog
from her.
box. Okay.
I'm the guy in your guys' story that was like payday. And then I went and I held on to him for a couple years, and then I went on eBay and I started.
You
I
were
went
the-
through like 200 of these things.
You were the mark.
I was the guy. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm getting paid. I went through 200 of these Pogs, and by the end of it, eBay said I owed them money. They were like, dude, what are you doing? They're like, these Pogs are useless.
So when they call someone a mark, the obvious reference is, the target.
Mm-hmm.
I think that ties into our earlier conversation about knowing anyone named Mark that has any quality to the name.
Mark's a bastard.
Marks are bastards. And I think marks are bastards because marks are marks.
Well, except for
So, yeah.
for Mark McGrath, is it?
The McGruff the crime dog? I don't
Oh yeah.
That guy's McGruff.
Yeah,
McGruff.
yeah,
Mark
McGruff.
McGruff and the crime dog?
McGruff.
Could you imagine if he and Smokey Bear and Donald Duck put a band together?
That would be one hell of a band.
Would you pay money to see that
Yes.
band?
Yeah, I would.
I would
For sure.
too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, the thing
I'd buy
be
the merchandise too.
yeah. Well, the thing I'd be the most excited about would be their merchandise.
Imagine the possibilities.
Well, and their music videos too.
Now, would you have real animals in place of the performers in videos? Because you can get creative with music videos.
Well, the thing I would want is Chuck E. Cheese style animatronics.
Broken animatronics
Yeah.
that go one
Dude, you
way,
wouldn't-
one way, one
You
way.
wouldn't want to go to that concert.
were you about to say cancer?
I did say I tried to catch it before I said it because I was like podcast.
Dude,
Like,
that is some really good bourbon.
dude, that would be cancer. Think about it.
it is.
It would be a bunch of giant humanoid animals in a band telling you not to do shit. You'd have like Rough McGuff, like don't do drugs, and Smokey Bear or whatever his name is, like
don't burn down the
he's
forest.
like don't burn
Yeah.
down the forest. All their songs would just be telling you not to do shit. No, I wouldn't go to that.
Which is basically straight edge hardcore punk rock from the early 80s.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be
Without the aggression.
be a horrible concert.
All right, here.
And
Here, Nico. What is your favorite punk band?
oh, God.
I gotta go Blink 182.
Fuck right on.
So that's actually, and listen, I am not copying you, but I'm gonna say Blink 182 is my. Actually, no, I'm gonna say Yellow Card, but Blink 182 is a really close
second.
one.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, Neal.
What's yours?
Oh, yeah. What is your favorite
What's
punk
your favorite
band?
punk band with the capital P?
I've suddenly hate this podcast. I went from thorough euphoric enjoyment 2 hours ago to I think I'm going to strangle myself to death with the cord that's attached to this microphone as soon as I can.
Well, what's your favorite punk band? Just so we get like a comparison.
Sum 41 or like
like Lit.
You're about to get 5 of them. Yeah. you know me. I'm old, and I'm old school. So I'm just going to go for sheer aggression. Rollins era Black Flag.
I don't even know what that is.
That's because you're...
It's a pirate band.
Oh,
It's also
pirate
a
metal?
bug spray, too, but nobody calls it that anymore. No, it's... Your version of punk is basically Dolly Parton singing Christmas songs compared to my version of Satan.
Which, objectively, those are pretty good Christmas songs.
If she's singing them with her breasts.
Yeah, they're not great Christmas
No,
songs.
they're
They're
loud.
shit.
Well, remember, we need to make sure that this is friendly for YouTube.
Sure.
What children are watching this, Shane?
How many times
I have no idea.
he's still worried about the feds?
Yeah, he's worried. We could probably get a younger audience if you did your fidget thing. Dude.
Yeah.
Just bring it out and just show
Bring
them
it
some
up.
moves.
Spin it a little bit.
Spin it, yeah.
Next time you do this podcast, bring your fidget spinner, put it on your glasses.
Yeah, and just sit there like this.
Just, you don't actually ever move your hands, and those things are just going.
Spin them and hold them like that, and you'll get 45,000 14-year-olds that will immediately tune in. Tune out.
No, then I
and
couldn't
turn
cuss
on.
at all.
So all right, so and this is something else that we were talking about before the podcast was Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How there are 2 Willy Wonka movies out there.
Dude, we can't talk
circulating.
about children and then you go to Willy Wonka. Dude,
No.
Not
So,
transition, but
so there are 2 Willy Wonka movies out there. There
about
is
to be 3.
no. There's not about to be 3.
Did
No,
they not do that? No, there's 3
Here,
Willy Wonka
Hold on.
movies.
Here,
if I could,
hang on.
break your heart any harder,
Here,
I
hang
would.
on.
But I promise you, there are about
So-
to be 3.
So there is the original one from the 70s. What year
Gene
did
Wilder.
Yeah. What year did the Gene Wilder one come out? Was it early 70s or?
late 60s, early 70s?
Okay.
right within that time period.
And that movie was fantastic.
It's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. And then there was the one that came out starring Johnny Depp. That came out when? It was like the early 2000s.
Willy Wonka was 72, I think, right?
That sounds about right. Like early
Within
70s,
that
I'd say
time
maybe.
period, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, the one with Johnny Depp had a different name. See, it was...
was it called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
yeah.
That one.
71
71.
was.
Well, you know, the thing that bothers me with the Johnny Depp one, Charlie and Chocolate Factory, that's the name of the original book.
Right.
And I'll grant it that the Gene Wilder one was not all that loyal to the book.
But it was. That's the point. It was more loyal to the book than anything.
The Johnny Depp one was definitely not loyal to the book
Not
at all.
Aren't there
even
already
close.
3 movies? Didn't they do the glass elevator one or no? That never got made?
There's one that's in post.
Tell us about the next one
There's
that's
one
coming.
in post production, and there's this young actor, and I only know his name through seeing it in newsprint. So I don't know anything about him. I don't know what country he's from. I don't know his ethnicity. I don't know anything. But I think his name is Timothy Chalamet, dark-haired kid. You know.
Oh, he's in his 20s.
Yeah. Okay. So he's basically.
Was he Willy Wonka?
He's the male Taylor Swift of right now.
Okay, yeah, he's popular.
Yeah. He's
a good actor.
He's playing the role of Willy Wonka in this remake.
As a young man then, right?
I can only guess.
I imagine
that's what he looks like.
this is going to be before the factory. This is going to be like him with the Oompa Loompas and shit. It has to be.
From everything that I've read and understood, they're taking liberties as far as creativity.
Of course they are.
But my whole contention is simply, you've taken perfection once already and stomped on it into the ground. Now, just because 10 years have passed and people have forgotten that Johnny Depp made a movie of the same name, we're going to start it again, and we're going to take another movie and stomp it deeper into the ground.
But that's kind of the point, isn't it? That everyone has already forgotten that Johnny Depp made that movie.
Why haven't they remade?
But they have
gun
not
movies?
forgotten that Gene Wilder made the original.
Well, I think, to be fair, boys, I think this is going to be a prequel. I'm almost positive. There's no way they're picking that actor and they're going to redo it. He's too young. He doesn't even look like that. That's a young Willy Wonka.
But
Do you think it could be like a Benjamin Button type of Wonka?
No, I think this is gonna. I'm not kidding. It's gonna be a prequel. This is gonna be him traveling the world and finding the Oompa Loompas and shit.
So that is best case scenario, a Benjamin Button style Wonka.
Yeah.
But the problem is, Nico, have you been paying attention to what Hollywood's been putting out over the last 10 years?
I'm not saying it's going to be good. I'm saying
it's been really bad.
This movie's going to end with him opening the chocolate factory.
So basically, it's Amistad for Willy Wonka.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Wait, the second book, isn't it called The Glass Elevator or some shit?
Yeah, glass ceiling.
They never made that movie?
No.
I don't think so.
Not that I'm aware of. Certainly not with any sort of
I feel like
notoriety.
I watched it.
Well, and this is
Might have
going to
been
be
a cartoon.
Well, this is going to be really interesting too because what's the author's name of Willy Wonka? Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl, yeah.
Well, you know, they're censoring a lot of his books right now
Yeah.
too because they find them very offensive and everything.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see where the line of offense and censorship is with this new movie.
Well, you know, they took that whole censorship thing took about a week, and the backlash from it was so severe that they backtracked on it and basically said, okay, we're going to leave these phrases and words in the books because they were so beloved, and honestly, they were as inoffensive as you can get.
Well, and you know, as far as the books by Roald Dahl goes, I read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah, everybody has.
So I never read what was Witches based on a book
I'm not sure
that he wrote.
I know the Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I didn't know that he wrote that.
Yeah. Quite a few.
Well, you know, the thing that I always liked about, I guess the thing that I really like about his books is the message of redemption. Mm-hmm. You know, even from the darkest places, that no matter how dark somewhere is, it's never that far away from having the potential to be redeemed.
It's funny you bring that up because before I got over here this evening, a certain friend of mine and I were talking about those books on the telephone. And we were talking about how when you're a certain age, you read a certain book and it translates to you in a very specific way because you're young. Mm. Then you turn into teenager, early 20s. And if you reread that book, the meaning becomes completely different. And the older you get, in some of these books, the meaning changes as you get
100%.
older. And it becomes more clear. And some of them are meant to take 40 years for the full story to really be understood. There are so many adult themes in these books that on the surface you look at it and you think it's just a kid in a candy store. But there's so much more behind it. And the depth is deeper than the Titanic. And it takes years to learn that kind of stuff. And that's the beauty of some of the best writers that did that stuff back in the day, was that if you gave it the patience, and that's one of the things I think that a lot of people, when they read today, they don't give books the patience to let the book be understood, if they even read it all. And certainly children's books have gone to very simplistic types of books. They're booger eating. They're bombastic. There's very little in them as far as moral and lesson. It's more entertainment. But the older stuff has depth. I mean, real depth. And I think a lot of those books, if you had given them a chance, and people have given them a chance now, if they reread them, they would see that there's an entirely different message coming out of them, that from when you were 8 to when you're 38, 40, 60, what have you. And it takes that long for the whole thing. So the book literally ages with you.
And that's an interesting point. I'm actually going to bring this up. Same thing with, I don't know, when it comes to writing, like you said, a lot of kids just aren't reading anymore on these stories. So if you take something like, let's go back to, I think it was 1997, right? First Harry Potter book comes out. If you were already 12 or older, you thought that was shit.
Yeah.
if you were over the age of 12 in 1997, you probably thought the Harry Potter stories were shit. But then you have us, right? That kind of grew. We read that first book,
Right.
And the cool thing about it was that I don't know if this will ever be done like this again to the stages. We grew up as she was writing the books, and her writing style changed book to book.
Absolutely.
With that original age in mind. So the people that were, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the first book, she wrote, and the writing style changed to more preteen, teenager, to
Precisely.
all the way to the adult theme. Now, I know a lot of people don't like Harry Potter, and to be fair, if you weren't in that 15-year group right there where that happened, if you were older, 99% of those people probably like, that's shit story. And then the younger crowd, I don't know if they'll ever embrace it to the level of that crowd. It's a very weird 20 years right there where people are going to love Harry Potter forever. And then I truly think they're going to have to try to sell it hard. It does have the redemption story, like you were saying, through the thing. And it has a lot of those arcs. And her world building was well done. The movies are garbage, but that's...
You think so?
I don't like them. I don't.
You see, I think the Harry Potter movies are good. I think that you just have to distinguish them from the books.
And that's the thing with anyone writes a great literature and it gets translated into cinema, you're inevitably going to find flaw in the cinema. So, for example, I just finished Truman Capote's Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's a short story in essence. And not to give away any spoilers, but if you've seen the movie with Audrey Hepburn, it's iconic.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The entire movie is perfect in every sense of the way.
The song is really good too.
The Moon River, absolutely.
Yeah.
It going down in history.
Absolutely. Even Mickey Rooney's impersonation of, the Asian fella, that was standing. It's still a perfect movie. It doesn't matter. So reading the book after having viewed that movie 50 times because it's a great movie, and realizing there are so many subtle differences in them. And reading the book, it gives you such a different perspective of the story. And it almost makes me a little angry at the film itself because, like most book fans, they're true to the books first. Their hearts lie within the
books.
literature.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So instead of... they're going to pick apart every little flaw that's not in the film. And so having just finished that Breakfast at Tiffany's book and seen the movie 100 times, the differences within the book to the movie are staggering. And some of them are minor little details, and some of them are such huge plot points that you're basically not even working with the same material. And so that artistic freedom that they've taken to take a short story and turn it into this iconic movie, but it's not the same story. And I think that in itself is always going to be a problem with book readers I'm guilty. I'm sure that anybody that reads is guilty of that. You see the book, you read the book, you fall in love with the book, then the movie comes out, and you curse the movie.
It's impossible, though. I don't care who you are. You can't take those stories that we love that are... some of these books are very lengthy, right? With so much detail. That's why we love them, because you're never going to get that character interaction in the movies.
Right.
You can't convert that to a 2-hour movie.
It's impossible.
It could be a 4-hour movie. You're not doing it.
And that was one of the biggest complaints when you were talking about the Harry Potter books.
Yeah.
Was that a lot of the fans that read the books and they were diehard. And by the way, I stick by this statement that I will say that the Harry Potter phenomenon from the first book to the last book, excluding the movies, was the biggest cultural phenomenon that has happened in this country and possibly the world since Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be duplicated anytime soon.
I don't think it can. I was an adult and I was part of a lot of different aspects of the Harry Potter world. Sold books at bookstores, went to parties that sold them at midnight, saw the kids line up in the lines.
Oh, yeah.
For hours, dressed up in the costumes, just glowing, waiting to get the cover in their hands, not even reading it.
Mm-hmm.
My ex, we went. She worked at a bookstore. She bought the book after selling them all night. Stayed up all night, the rest of the night, read the whole book, and then got on a plane to Paris without sleeping. It was the 7th book. So she finished the whole thing after working that night. She sold it, went home, stayed up all night and all day, finished the whole book, and then, but literally an hour later, we were in the car off to the airport to Paris. That was the kind of commitment that Harry Potter reader had. And she could not have been the only one.
Oh no, the books are captivating. They're very well written, and that's what I'm saying is, a lot of these books come out and they'll be like trilogies. They'll write them over the years, and it's the same writing style. It's that fact that it moved with the ages of the audience. You could tell the first 2 books. I'll make this statement. In my opinion, are very childish.
Yeah,
very childish, and
but that's intentional.
Yes, and then the 3rd book's the first one where you get a hint of true consequences to actions. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, wait a minute, and the characters have to kind of go through a lot of emotional stuff, and you're like, but we were that age where we were starting to go through like weird stuff. So it was like, and the 4th book, all of a sudden you could tell it went right into the teenage kind of the 5th book. Even the characters
it starts to get dark.
You are literally growing with the book's content.
What else has done that like that? Nothing that I can think of. Not a growth period. We could take great literature, great piece of literature like Lord of the Rings. It's written the same throughout all 3 books. Yep. It's written as a story that you're telling. We grew with these characters.
Absolutely.
You could take a kid now and hand him a book at, here, read this book at 8. Now you're going to read this one at 9, read this one at 10, just like she did. And holy shit. Yeah. You're not going to ever experience that again.
And you will not have the same sort of emotional effect attached to it because it was such a phenomenon at the time.
Yes.
That they were so emotionally invested in the content and they had grown with the story. So you've got someone sitting there that should be putting their suitcase together because you're about to fly 10 hours to Paris.
But you don't care.
But she didn't care.
Yeah.
And I kept going into the room and saying, you might want to put some clothes in the suitcase. And all I got back was, shut up, you're interrupting my reading. The quicker I can finish reading this, the sooner I can pack. And I mean, I love reading. Mm-hmm. I read constantly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've ever spent that kind of dedication to reading anything with that much intent on finishing it with like that
Harry
much.
Potter. You don't want to put it down.
Right. And she didn't. And I can only imagine that through those books, the 7 books that came out, there must have been millions of kids that grew in the same way with those books so that by the time that the last book comes out, they have aged exactly with the characters. So in a way, they're real. They've become a part of them. Because any good literature will sit inside of you. You'll find it.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be part of you.
I have an interesting question. Mm-hmm. All right. So we know Harry Potter. We know the depth of it, the writing style, the world building.
Right.
There was another phenomenon, and not even Star Wars, and I don't mean popularity. I mean people just irrationally. I've never seen anything match Harry Potter in that. Not the Marvel, not Star Wars. I know the people dress up. I'm talking just, this was like almost mass panic. Harry Potter did that, and another franchise did it. And this franchise, not only were the movies horrible, the literature was horrible. I don't know how she didn't. She capitalized on it and then destroyed it herself. I don't know how this is possible because I've read the books and I've seen the movies.
I know exactly what you're saying.
And they're both fucking horrible.
Right.
We know, the movie and book series is
Twilight.
Correct. How did that happen?
I have a theory on that.
Okay.
I think that there was a carryover period between when the Harry Potter books were at their highest peak. That thematic sort of character writing was easy to copy, second rate. You have your top tier writers that can write quality material like that. But then you've got second rate writers like the woman who wrote
Stephanie Meyer.
yeah. She basically took the Cliff Notes version of the quality of the Harry Potter phenomenon and the power and dumbed it down and made it just interesting enough so that people who were educated, I mean, we were educated people who were not dumb were reading these books.
Lost their mind. I read
Crazy.
them. I read them. I was like, and then I'm not kidding because I had a girlfriend. We were super into it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I look back in Harry Potter's, I'm like, what the fuck was I doing?
Yeah.
These movies are shit.
Yeah.
And the books are horrible. I read one of the books and it was horrible. And I still went and read the rest of them.
Yeah.
I remember working and having some friends that I worked with that were really, really into Twilight, and they lent me the first book. Do you remember what the first book was called? It was
I think the first one's just called Twilight.
Twilight, not Breaking Dawn.
No, it's Twilight, New Moon, and then I got nothing
Okay.
after that.
All right, so
I'm out of my element with
so
Yeah, I don't
whatever
know.
it is, I was lent the first book, and I remember getting 10 pages into it, and I had to close it.
Eclipse, third one,
Okay.
I think.
And the reason I had to close it was because I was reading through it and I felt like I was reading the journal, the rantings of an angry 12-year-old.
Like Anne Frank.
Without the trauma.
No.
Without the trauma.
And we're not going there either.
Inevitable. Yeah.
I could, dude. When am I ever gonna get to say that joke again, dude? Come on, that fit perfectly.
I'm sure you'll have plenty of opportunities down the road,
Jeez.
but no. I actually mentally I couldn't get past page 10 because I didn't like the internal monologue in those first 10 pages, and I remember closing the book and just saying I can't keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was one of those types of things where you had your A tier of books. You had your Harry Potters, and you had maybe your Hunger Game type of books, weren't those?
Oh yeah. Hunger Games.
Those
big at that time.
those were pretty big literature wise. Those were very popular. And then you had your second tier, and all the second tier stuff was far below the top tier stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And everything that the second tier stuff did was basically just take the best elements of the top tier stuff and dumb it down to its simplest form, but still maintaining enough interest that the people who love the top tier stuff could not read it, because all of the people that I knew that read literature, and I say literature, not books, because I'm pretentious. They read literature, and they read all those books, and they, as they read them, complained about how stupid they were.
Yes.
In the moment, they would say, I just read the last 50 pages. This is absolutely horrible. But I'm about to go read 100 more, and I can't wait for the next one to come out.
I'm with you on this. I think it was right place, right time, because I think if those books come out this year,
Yeah.
and keep going, not 25% of the reaction.
Nothing.
I mean, we could wipe everyone's memory, and it could come out
Yeah.
for the first time. Not 25% of what it did. Then it was right place, right time.
And I think it all rode off of that Harry Potter
Yes.
bandwagon. And
People were hungry.
And that in itself further explains just the pull and power of the Harry Potter thing. To be there and see it in action and live it. I can tell you, I was old enough to see Star Wars in the theater. The last two. I saw Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I was a kid, but I saw them in the theater. And I remember Return of the Jedi much better than Empire Strikes Back, because I was young, but I do remember it. And I also saw E.T. in the theater as it was a brand new movie, which is, you know, an important movie. And I can tell you that I went absolutely nuts for those movies. And collecting those figures was one thing. And I have just lost my train of thought.
Well,
Could you tell that was coming? Because I was bullshitting my way through that, and I thought, where was I going?
that may be a good place for us to take a little break.
Sure.
And then we'll start back up again in
You got
just
it.
a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
Amen.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Break.